Hello everybody, Glitch Ripper here, and I'm back for another Lycanites equipment combos video. This one is very special for a very particular reason. It's designed after kind of a concept of swords from Final Fantasy games, namely those that can help you drain the health of your enemies. In this case, this one kind of specializes in making it a bit more accurate to that and making them just feel extra drained and lethargic, in addition to, well, stealing lots of health. Because this one's optimized for increasing the damage after the first hit and then just working that that extra penetration damage into some serious life leeching. So this one is the Drainblade. Now remember, whenever you're doing any of these, that you'll be needing the equipment forges. The first one takes a crafting table and a wooden axe to make it, and then you add a iron block to that, and then you add a block of diamond to the one in the middle. So either way, you'll wind up with a master equipment forge, which is the only one you'll ever really need because it can do all the types of parts and at max level, so therefore you're always going to be perfectly fine. Now, as usual, I'll also go over where to hunt for these parts, and I will have some kind of demonstration for this. And I'll be saying what all they do and what its combined abilities can really let you pull off. So, let's kind of go into it again this time. Now, you're going to be needing several parts here, as I was explaining before. And remember that ones from creatures are usually the best. They are the ones that actually give you abilities. So, if you're using a crafted part, it can be a good holdover for a while, but in the end you'll be wanting your creature parts in all likelihood. Now the base of this one will be a Zaffin spine. Zaffins show up where there's elemental mixing, so things like whenever you're converting lava into obsidian and stone, and possibly hanging out around maybe a not quite entirely efficient cobblestone generator design. But Zaffins are kind of acidic elementals, so you kind of got to watch out for them. And the effect of this one grants penetration. So, and as usual, I go with level 3 parts, and this brings me up to something real quick. He's changing his plans as to how he's going to handle leveling up parts. Like, instead of them being in an anvil, he's going to have a special block that will allow you to infuse them with similar elemental energies, and then level them up that way, which will be very cool. So all those elemental charges you've been collecting, keep a hold of them because they'll actually be used to infuse your items. So keep that in mind. He's redoing a lot of things. So Lycanites got some plans, and he's replanning the plans. So just bear with me, as this is a work in progress. But as I was going, this is kind of one of the major linchpins of this for another reason, and that's because is giving you penetration, which will up the amount of damage that it does overall. And we want very high damage so that leech, which with the life leech effect, which works by proportion, can get you more health. So this is increasing the amount of health that you'll be getting back from whacking your enemies. It also adds both a head and a pommel part, and this is where this design comes together, is because it needs all 4 parts that you're allowed for a bladed weapon. And since this is kind of going off the Drainer and other similar swords from Final Fantasy, then I really wanted to make this into a blade, so this will be definitely the Drainblade. And this will help it do that quite a bit. Now, the Pommel is a Pseudoramu stinger. These are found in deserts, so you'll be hunting some very large scorpions. It adds slowness and hunger, and this is where I thought it would be making an enemy feel lethargic and drained in ways other than just their health. But either way, this is something that can really latch onto them hard. Now, it also works as a hoe and shears. Again, some features are still work in progress, like being able to get the click functions. I'm not sure if he's done that yet. I could give it a quick check, and I'll be demonstrating the quick harvesting effects of this one. So just thinking about that. Now another part you'll be needing is the head part, which allows you to add the blade. This one's where we get the draining effect. It adds leech ability for a good period, for pretty good strength, and it also is where you get a lot of its statistics in, because it's kind of, well, it adds a bit of extra sweep to it and things like that, and so it's kind of giving a little extra punch to the main blade. Now, in addition to granting leech to yourself so you can drain enemies' health directly, it also summons a very draining enemy. Darklings. So you'll probably have some of those around if you're lucky. However, it might require a little less luck in the future. He's also been revealing that he'll also make it so that the chance goes up in proportion to the total sweep of the weapon. So the greater its sweep, the more likely it is to summon an ally. So I don't think he's got that in already. So I think I just got really lucky last time. But either way, Darklings like to life leech their enemies themselves as well and just jump all up on them and, well, they're gonna suck some serious blood. So basically they're a bunch of angry ticks. And they're found mostly underground, so think about that next time you're mining. Now, Zephyr Blades are going to be the trickiest part to get, because Zephyrs show up the most often in thunderstorms. Yeah, that's not exactly a phenomenon that's going to be around all the time. So, I mean, there are ways of kind of fusing into them and just hoping you get the right enemies the right spot, but either way, it's going to be heavily up to chance, even more so than normal. So instead of actively hunting them, this will be very much a literal weapon of opportunity. Now, it also adds paralysis, so this is a bit more strategic than just making them feel kind of drained and unable to move. It's the fact that you're pinning them in place so you can keep striking them over and over. So if you've got a strong enemy with a lot of health, you can take a lot of health back from them pretty quickly with this, as long as they're able to be debuffed by paralysis. So that's kind of where this comes in. It also has a decently wide sweep in and of itself at 180, which is good. Remember, all this adds up in the final statistics I'll be showing off. Now, it harvests as a sword, so again, this means anything that swords specifically harvest faster than normal will be harvested just like that. So, chopping through cobwebs and pumpkins is pretty much your thing. Here you go. Also might make short work of leaves, although the shearing effect over here will be good for that too. It also summons Zephyrs once in a while. So again, that whole thing about the new way of handling it will be a big deal. So this is how we get this design all put together. Now it's time for me to do the assembly and the traditional renaming of the one that I just showed how to assemble. So we have the Zaffin spine, which is the base. We have a nice optional pommel, but hey, for this design, gotta go all out. Sudaramu stinger. We have the Darkling skull. Always gotta have your headpiece in there, and this is the one for life draining, remember? And that, of course, illuminates our last slot, which is the which is the blade slot, and we're putting in our Zephyr blade. So, we now have a slightly incomplete copy of the Drainblade, and it's time to rename it as such. I've kind of pre-selected a very interesting opponent for myself this time to demonstrate. So, after I show off the Drainblade a little, I'll be spawning a lesser Crimson Portal. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. And speaking of interesting, I'm going to have to figure out how this thing's actually fully harvesting. Because remember, it's supposed to harvest as a combination of shears, sword, and hoe. So it'll go through plants very quickly. Also remember that a few little last things about these statistics I'll be showing here. The damage is 8. It has an attack speed of 2.5, which is pretty good, actually, for a blade. It doesn't have any particular knockback to it, but we're not going for that. We want them to stay close, not get knocked away, because you're trying to leech off their health at point blank. It also has a sweep of 225 in total, so that extra sweep from the Darkling Skull really helps out. Now, I'm going to prepare to demonstrate this particular weapon. It's a good thing that's not completely out yet. I'd missed that. Okay, a little bit of extra bounce is okay. Now, let me see here. A little quick. Yeah, that's super fast harvesting. But it's not acting like shears in terms of, like, actually getting it back completely. So I can slice through trees super quickly. But at the same time, it's not really giving me the leaves. So he hasn't got the shear ability in that respect. And let me put the shield away from... No, okay. It's not doing that either. Had to check. It's not... Still don't got the extra click functionality at this exact time. But, as I said before, that's not all. I'm going to have to demonstrate against the Crimson Cult. specifically using a Lesser Crimson portal to see how many decide to pop in. So let me get myself at least a little bit of high ground. Hi, guys. Oh, it latched on directly. Oh, it finished for me. Yeah, I annihilated them with this thing completely. And if I actually suffered any damage, I would have been healing that all off. I'm not even sure if I did suffer any damage. I think I may have just perfected them with the sword. Or flawless. Yeah, flawless. That's easier than going with perfected there. But, yeah. In a little fighting game terms. Yeah, perfect round. So, they just got mauled. Now, personally, he's also been talked about the possibility of giving them a durability and the ability to repair it, kind of like tinkered construct tools, but I still prefer the idea of it just being like an infinite durability weapon tool that gives it kind of more that this is your personal weapon kind of feel, especially since you designed it yourself. So it's kind of like, this works for me, and it will always work for me. Wahaha. That's one thing I just really love about that. I mean, it was originally partially because he didn't know how to get the whole durability added up and how to get the parts to do that, but in the end, I kind of like it as a different style myself. So I'm just saying that I just kind of like the idea of kind of keeping that part as is, although I do like the idea of how to level them up being about elemental infusion, and that being one good way to get the parts. And quick demo, here's various ways in which this weapon looks around. I don't think I got to show that off before. But yes, Drainblade is looking very nice in various fashions. I don't know if we have any other ways to demonstrate stuff at this time, but it could come up. You never know. Anyhow, I'll be logging off for now. Hope to hear from you all later. And bye for now, everybody.